Storytelling has the magical power to instill hope and possibility, opening new pathways in our mind, alight with the promise of what gifts life may bestow upon us. You're listening to the Cozy Lakeshore Chalet series, a continuous reading of bedtime stories for grown-ups set in a picturesque town in Vermont. Enter the world of Martha and Ike, beloved owners of a general store. As the seasons unfold, you experience majestic moments between the married couple, whose love has endured more than 60 years. Enjoy the transitions from snowy winterscapes to a summer firefly dance with stories that celebrate enduring love and community. Whenever you wish, you are just a thought away from your own chalet on a lake, a timeless cottage where peace beckons with lakeside sunsets and gatherings with friends. It's time to dream away. Welcome to Michelle's Sanctuary. As you tune in, think of me as a sleep ally, here to fully support your need for nightly rest. I will help you shift your thoughts to pleasant images, so you may enjoy a night of soothing dreams. Before we delve into the stories, know you can customize any detail and surrender to the tug of sleep whenever you feel like it. There are no rules, and the sole purpose of listening is to connect you with the softest parts of this moment in time. Feel free to stretch and wiggle and do whatever it takes to get as comfy as you can. And as you tune into your inner world, allow images to dance through your mind with the grace of willows billowing by a rippling lake. Consider objects that conjure thoughts of comfort made with care. Blankets and sweaters hand knitted by loving hands. Cozy nooks outfitted for reading on rainy days. Homemade soup and handwritten letters of encouragement folded into small pieces and found tucked inside the most unexpected of places. Let the energy of these loving endeavors guide you as you let out a deep breath, releasing any stress or tension or unnecessary thoughts that swirl inside you or around you. Sink deep into the support of your bed, a reminder that you are fully supported in this sanctuary. Inhale through your nose, taking in the most calming aromatic notes of each season by a lake, of freshly fallen snow and wood fires, magnolias in bloom, and the rich earth of spring, roasted marshmallows and an outdoor grill, the sweet decay of autumn leaves, the scents of the season blend together in a warm embrace, a reminder of beauty in this world. Let out another sigh, maybe making a sound. You cast aside doubts to clear the way for thoughts of bliss and comfort. Continue twice more at a pace that feels best. As you inhale, maybe add a yawn and sigh. Each breath becomes deeper, conjuring thoughts of being wrapped in a patchwork quilt, cuddled by a fire, looking out from a chalet on a lake, welcoming anything that follows, the cracks and pops of a flame engulfing a log, a tender smile, an unexpected act of kindness. All these joy-inspired details may be found at your chalet on a lake. Whenever you are ready, your breath may resume a slow, sleepy flow. In this deepened state of peace, there is room for pleasure as the stories commence. Chalet on the lake. You find yourself on a snowy path through the woods of a lakeside village in Vermont. You see your breath condense on the frigid air that smells of snow on the way. This magical fragrance is caused when the chill in the air slows down the movement of molecules and mutes all other smells. The clean metallic aroma brought in by the humidity is isolated. The smell conjures a romantic excitement and reminds you of hunkering down and relishing the purity and brilliance that snow brings in the darkness of winter. And when a fresh blanket of snow coats the landscape, it absorbs sound and makes for a quieter world. You listen to your feet land on the packed snow from earlier storms as you walk among barren and gnarly trees that were once full of green foliage and later a kaleidoscope of jewel tones at the height of autumn. And now deep in the winter months, you still find the occasional fallen burgundy leaf that is trapped in the snow like a fossil. While the approaching snow makes the air smell clean, you can still catch a hint of pine that carries on the chilly breeze, and the smell of wood smoke from nearby villages. But for the occasional winter ice festivals, the village is sleepy this time of year, and you often see more animals on your walks than humans. You hear the soft patter of paws landing on frozen, decayed leaves, and look down the path to see a red fox. You recognize this cunning animal, and he recognizes you. For many years, you have left him food in the starkest and coldest months. Your relationship thrives on mutual respect. Each winter, you look forward to crossing paths and look out for one another as if distant neighbors. After acknowledging you, the fox scurries, and you continue on a shortcut to the general store. The first flurries begin to fall. You are grateful for the plush parka that has kept you warm against the harshest and coldest nights for several years. You wear a hat with ear flaps, knitted by a local older lady named Gloria, who sells these unique hats at the annual holiday festival. She knits hats throughout the year in preparation for selling out, and even then can barely keep up with the demand. The hat you now wear was custom made to fit you and knitted in your favorite colors. You think of Gloria's delicate, wrinkled hands that have been a source of love and nurturing for many people in this town. And the personal touch warms your heart to know that someone cared enough to create this for you. Up ahead, you see the rusty brown cabin serving as the local general store since before you were born. There is a carved wooden bear statue from which a sign hangs and reads General Store in bold print, with the words maple syrup, local cheese, and bait printed below it. It always amuses you to read the odd array of featured goods that have somehow become Vermont's novelty items. You walk up the shoveled path to the wooden porch that leads to the entrance. You stomp your boots to clear any snow before ascending the stairs. The shop is run by Martha and Ike, a happily married couple of 60 years, and the sounds of their comical bickering often becomes an attraction for locals and visitors alike. You enter the store and a bell rings, and even in her 80s, Martha's hearing is as sharp as her wit. She greets you by name and her eyes light up as she asks what you need to weather the storm. While quaint, the store carries everything from firewood to baking essentials to grocery items and snow boots, as well as items made fresh by Martha and Ike. The radio is playing softly in the background, and a weather report issues a warning that the blizzard will last into tomorrow and to expect at least 3 feet of snow. Martha sighs softly, and her sigh carries the sound of a woman who has heard reports and dealt with storms like this for more times than she can recall. You grab a few provisions, a few candles in case the power goes out, and some local cheddar cheese. Martha recommends the homemade soup and rustic bread made early that morning. All of the food items are specially made to your preferences. You thank her and bring your items to the antique register as Ike comes over to ring you up. He looks to his wife proudly, with the slightest hint of a smirk that reveals he is always thinking something offbeat. Being around them always gives you joy. They are the kind of couple that exudes warmth and playfulness. Their loving chemistry can be recognized from afar and from the shortest of interactions. Ike packages your items in a brown paper bag and adds the purchases to your tab. As a regular, they send a monthly bill from the shop, always with a sweet handwritten card. You wish them well and tightly rewrap your scarf around your neck and face. The snow is falling more rapidly, and the wind seems to have picked up. They tell you to be safe and to call if you need anything. You know you never would, but you also know you could rely on them if it came to that. This kind of small-town charm warms your heart. It makes you feel part of something bigger than yourself, and that somehow you will always be taken care of. You exit and hear the silver bell ring again, slightly muted by the sound of the creaky door as it shuts behind you. You hear the sound of a sanding truck in the distance, the shuffle of sand on pavement and hum of the engine is soothing and also a reminder that the storm is the real deal. It gives you a flurry of excitement, and your spine tingles, in part from the anticipation, and in part from the frigid temperature. Your face begins to tingle as you make your way across the main road and towards the lake. Ice skaters and cross-country skiers take advantage of the frozen lake, and a few glide across it before the storm arrives. Sky-like, the cornflower blue ice is dappled with wisps of white snow that look like cirrus clouds. The setting is serene, and nature adds the perfect final touch with pristine snowflakes that magically fall from the lavender gray sky. The perimeter of the lake is edged with evergreen trees that have a glistening layer of icy snow. As the snow continues to fall and a few inches accumulate, you notice the quietude setting in. All the white noise of the world is softened by the fresh white crystalline coating. And in the stillness, you hear the patter of snowflakes landing on your hat and parka. You hear your gentle breathing that becomes visible in small clouds. The sky is getting darker, and you shift the paper bag of goods to your hip, hugging it tightly against your body. You walk on the pebbled beach, where multicolored blue and tawny brown and seafoam green stones glisten like jewels beneath the iridescent patches of snow. You balance on them confidently, thanks to the thick rubber soles of your winter boots. You hear the soft hooting of an owl and pause for a moment. You look around, and then high atop a pine tree, camouflaged within the snow-covered boughs, you see a snowy owl. This beautiful bird of prey takes flight and gracefully soars through the falling snow. Her white wings blend into the landscape, and it is only because of their black dots that your eyes can discern the owl in flight. She circles and lands on a snow-covered boulder on the beach and looks at you with buttercup yellow eyes. Everything about this experience tunes you into the wondrous beauty that exists in this life. In folklore, a white owl represents transformation and inner wisdom. And winter is a time for us to collect ourselves in quiet moments, to go within and reflect. It is a season that comes with constant change and removes the guilt sometimes felt in modern society for taking it easy. A blizzard like the one on the way is a great excuse for hunkering down, for laying low and taking time to unwind. The owl disappears, taking flight, and you are reminded of your freedom. You can truly make choices that you never give much thought to. And perhaps tonight as you dream, you may allow these possibilities to inspire you. The wind blusters, and for the first time on this journey, you are feeling tired and longing for a return to the safety and warmth of your lakeside chalet. You walk along the beach, past neighboring cottages that are vacant during the winter months. During late spring, the families will begin to return and prepare for leisurely summer days. But while they are gone, you often check in on the homes and take pride in your role as winter guardian. The pebbled beach winds around into a private cove that contains a secluded beach where your chalet awaits. The dock is now frozen to the lake, and on some nights you will hear the soft crackle of the ice shifting. You follow stairs from the beach that lead to your chalet. Inspired by the architecture of the Alpines region, the chalet has eaves that are overhangs of the roof that allow water and snow to glide off with ease, and oftentimes long icicles will hang from these eaves. Made of wood, the decking has lattice-like details that make your Vermont home feel like a Swiss ski cottage. Windows look out on the lake, and even in the blustering snow, the back of the chalet looks as if it's made entirely of glass. You make your way to the deck and again climb the stairs, carefully counting each step as you ascend, and grateful that your boots grip the fresh coating of snow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Climbing the steps one at a time, you look out on the lake before you continue. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You arrive at the deck and pause to feel the snow melt on your face one last time. You then clear the snow from the glass French door and open it into the cottage. You hear the scamper of your pet coming to greet you as you set down the paper bag and remove your boots. The interior of the chalet is rustic and charming, with pops of your favorite colors throughout. The walls are made of pine, and the home always retains a sweet, woodsy aroma. Rustic beams hang overhead and are draped with tiny white lights that you turn on with a switch. They add a magical glow and charm to the room. You remove your boots as your pet tries to weave his furry head between your arms and knock you off balance. He cannot wait for your attention, and so you stop midway and ruffle the fur on his head, and then give him a soft pat. Once your wet boots are removed, you slip your feet into a pair of slippers. to keep your socks dry from the small pools of melting snow. You remove your coat and scarf and hat and gloves and place them in a wardrobe closet in the open living area. Every single thing in the chalet has been selected by you over time and is custom to your tastes. These items represent your memories and your milestones. Contained are mementos and furnishings that you collected throughout your life. And when you consciously look around and take it all in, you feel the radiating waves of gratitude for all that you have created in this life, because you made this all so. Your pet is on your heels, and you are used to this living shadow that has followed you through all the seasons. But on snowy days like this, you most enjoy cuddling with your companion. You retrieve the paper bag and walk to the open kitchen that looks out onto the lake. The sky has darkened from lavender gray to smoky black, and snow now causes near whiteout conditions. You arrived at home just in time. You empty the contents of the paper bag and then bring the bag back to the living area. You walk to a black cast iron wood stove and pull on the silver spring handle to open the door. You rip and crumple the bag inside the stove. You grab a lighter that rests on a pile of logs in the wrought iron firewood holder. You flick the long neck lighter, and the paper catches on fire. It smells sweet and smoky. You place pieces of kindling in the wood stove as well. The fire grows quickly as the kindling is so very dry, and you soon add a log that catches too. You place your hands near the fire, and they tingle as feeling returns to them. Once warmed, you close the door and place your warm hands on your cold cheeks. You enjoy the sensation for a moment and then return to the kitchen. The wind howls outside and forms snowdrifts against the French doors. The lights flicker and cause you to anticipate the power going out. You take the candles you bought and place them in holders stored on a ledge behind the sink. You remove a saucepan from a rack and place it on the gas stove. You then take the container of Martha's soup and pour the contents into the pan. You turn the knob to light the burner and then use the burner flame to ignite the wicks of the 2 tapered candles, and then set them on an empty silver tray on the island. The flames flicker and bring a warm and cozy glow. You walk to the farmhouse sink that looks out onto the lake. Now you see only a white, opaque blur of snow. You turn on the hot water, and it slowly warms as you lather your hands with lavender soap. Bubbles form, and the water is the right temperature for rinsing them off. The soothing lavender smell lingers and calms you as you turn off the faucet and dry your hands on a soft linen towel. You remove the bread from its bag and place it on a wooden cutting board. You take a serrated bread knife from the knife block. You slice it through the crusty bread that smells as fresh as when it first came out of the oven. You turn on the back burner of the gas range, where a cast iron frying pan always rests, so it may begin to heat. You feel a heightened awareness of the tactile sensations of cooking now that your hands are warm and no longer numb. You open a white ceramic butter dish kept near the stove and feel how cool and smooth and heavy the lid is. You grasp the knife and cut it into the soft butter, then slather it generously onto the bread. It may just be food to some people, but at this moment, you are curating an experience, and preparing your food is like a meditative art. You take the local cheddar cheese and slice a few slabs as well, and place them between the slices of bread. Once complete, you carefully place the sandwich on the burner and let it become golden. Your pet is still at your feet, and you grab their pet food and fill a stainless steel bowl that sits on the floor. He hurriedly runs to the bowl, and you listen to his teeth excitedly crunching down on the dry food. Nurturing and caring for your dear companion always makes you proud to be able to provide these simple things. You return to the stove and flip your sandwich and turn off the burner to the soup. It is now steamy and hot, and you grab a ceramic soup bowl from the cupboard. You raise the saucepan and tip it so the thick soup cascades out of the pouring spout in a delicious stream. And you notice when you concentrate on the steam rising and the colorful soup rippling into the bowl, that the most mundane of moments in your life are full of beauty when you pay attention. The grilled cheese is complete. You turn off the burner and remove the sandwich from the pan. You place it on the cutting block and slice it diagonally. The melted cheese oozes out of the crispy golden brown bread. You take a textured ceramic plate from the cupboard and place your hot sandwich on it. You open a drawer and grab a spoon that you place in the soup before closing it. You take the bowl and plate to the silver tray and carefully find balance as you lift it and walk to the living room. Your pet follows eagerly in tow, and the lights begin to flicker before the power goes out completely, just as you reach the living room. Your eyes take a moment to adjust to the ambient glow of the candles and wood stove fire. You place your silver tray on the rustic coffee table, purchased from a furniture shop located in a classic Vermont-style red barn. You curl your feet up under you and sink into the soft, plush chase of the sectional sofa. The cathedral ceilings are high and lofty and add a heavenly open space to the otherwise quaint chalet. You feel the contentment and deep sense of rest that comes after an active day. The kind of day when you cannot wait to put your feet up and let it all go. And right now, you do just that. You pick up the bowl and spoon the warm, silky soup into your mouth. You feel the liquid cascade down your throat, and it warms and soothes you within. This meal comes with comforting memories, going back into your youth. You alternate between soup and the grilled cheese, consuming them however you like, while your pet looks to you with loving eyes. After you finish eating, you rise and add a few more logs to the wood stove. You return to the chase and settle in. You rest your head back on the oversized throw pillows that have been collected through the years. You pull a crocheted chenille throw blanket from where it hangs on the back of the sofa and drape it over your legs and torso. Your pet inches closer, finding the perfect gaps into which he molds his body so he can rest his chin on your legs. You listen to the winter storm as it picks up intensity. The whistling winds and the pelts of snow that land on the roof create a percussive beat. The sound is a reminder of how grateful you are to be nestled by the wood stove. You feel both warm and satiated in every possible way. Your body begins to soften like the warm candle wax of the tapered candles that slowly burn down. You relax into a dreamy haze of contentment, just floating, drifting, thoughtless, and letting yourself be captivated by the shadows on the wall from the dancing candle flames. You know you are close to sleep, so you lean forward and blow out the candles. Your pet is already in a deep sleep and does not stir. You settle back into the cushions and watch the silver-gray trail of smoke rise from the smoldering orange wicks. Your eyelids feel heavy, and you let them rest on your tired eyes. The fire crackles and pops, and your pet softly snores. You surrender to the beauty of this life that you have created. You let go and embrace the comforts and safety of the chalet on a lake. You relish the softness in your body as it lets go of another day, and you drift with a softness to the next season, where you surrender to sleep, whatever feels best. The ice storm. A certain type of person seeks the bucolic appeal of Vermont. And just the same, charming lakeside Vermont towns develop certain attributes in people. It is a glorious region for souls in tune with beauty, connected with nature, and appreciative of the ever-changing communities through the seasons. The bitterness of winter brings hope for spring, and the diverse weather of the Northeast may swing from extremes. But in these unpredictable changes, one may find enhanced pleasure in comfort, warmth, and getting cozy. There may be times you take your home for granted, yet after a long journey, the opening of the front door into your sanctuary is more sweet and blissful than ever before. The sharpness of spending a day outside in biting winter winds makes a low-key night by the fire euphoric and heavenly. The contrasts in life find balance with intention, hope, and awareness. On a balmy March afternoon, the promise of spring is in the air. You walk through a path in the woods of a lakeside town in Vermont. You have been here before, and the familiarity of this walk is tranquilizing. Yet this visit is different. On the cusp of a new season, even as winter lurks with diminishing power. The air is damp and cool, but soft sunlight filters through the barren branches, where tiny green buds will soon emerge, and warms your face. The forest floor is damp and mottled with clumps of melting snow from the last blizzard a week ago. You feel quite warm in your puffer coat and unzip it to bask your chest in white gold rays of sunlight. A soft trickling sound and staccato drips of melting snow falling from trees create a soundtrack with the sound of your boots as they land on the semi-soft earth. The air is richly aromatized by smells of cedar and pine, the sweet tobacco earth, and the melting lake. But every now and then, a spontaneous gust of cold air warns of the looming drop in temperature on the way. A part of you longs for a storm, nature's permission slip to hunker down and be still. How silly it is that the modern world often needs to be forced into a slowdown. And an ice storm will bring all of Vermont a night for slowing down and doing nothing. In a month's time, a vibrant rainbow of wildflowers will pop up and sprout between wet, decaying leaves that will become one with the soil. The lakeside vacation cottages will be reopened in anticipation of summer, and a cross breeze of crisp spring air will stir the dust of winter in the homes. But for now, you exist in the delicious in-between of seasons. The village is even sleepier now than during winter's peak, when ice festivals and skiing bring an uptick in visitors. You come to a tree hollow that was this winter's drop-off point for food scraps and treats you left for the animals of the forest. Your spirit animal, a sly red fox, has often followed you on these walks and observed from afar. Birds sing out into the sunny afternoon to celebrate the warm reprieve. You come to a rust-brown cabin that has been the home of the local general store for nearly a century. You find great joy in the walk through the woods and daily interactions with the kind owners, Martha and Ike. Each year, the married couple gets a little slower and more methodical in their bodies. They vow each spring that they have one more summer in them before they pass off the business to their kids or sell it. But in truth, the general store gives them purpose. Martha and Ike are the heart and soul of the town. Sometimes travelers go out of their way to stop by the general store to try one of Martha's daily specials. You walk past a life-sized wooden bear statue that stands guard at the front door with a sign that reads General Store. Even the bear is wet from dripping and melting snow. There forms a pool of water at its feet. Come nightfall, the puddle will become a slick skating pond for all the small animal inhabitants of the woods. You open the front door, and a tiny silver bell rings to alert your arrival. Martha and Ike maintain anyone walking through the shop are to be treated like family. Every time the bell rings, it serves as a musical reminder that another friend has been welcomed into a home away from home. The first time you met Ike, he regaled you with stories of life on the lake. One hand can dip into that chilly water and create a ripple that spans the whole darn lake. That should be a heads up to everyone on this earth that our actions affect others. You can spend your whole life complaining about the way things are and judging others, or you can bring some good into this world, Ike explained. Martha piped in. That's why I married this man. Heart of gold. If you're gonna create a ripple, make it a good one. The store is quiet, but for a teenage boy, David, who stocks the shelves. Martha and Ike are behind the counter playing gin rummy when you walk in. Martha stands immediately, ready to help, and greets you by name. You would ask who's winning, but by the stack of pre-packaged saltine crackers they use for gambling, you see that Martha's pile is high enough to topple over. The store smells of hot soup, freshly baked bread, and a sweet woodsy aroma that is ubiquitous in the older lakeside cabins. You chat about the weather, which Martha insists will take us all by surprise. She can feel it in her bones. The pressure change is on the way. You trust her more than any weather forecast out there, and so does Ike. You peer through the rustic frames of the multi-paned windows to see purple-bellied storm clouds rolling in quickly. Pine cones and pebbles blow across the pathway to the general store as the wind picks up. Martha's eyes sparkle mischievously. For a moment you wonder if this woman is the conductor for Mother Nature's orchestra. The radio plays softly in the background, an old Jimmy Durante song that goes back to when Martha and Ike went to their first prom. There are times you've walked into the store before closing and seen them dancing together through the aisles stocked with household essentials and pantry items. One time, Ike even grabbed the mop handle and sang into it, wooing Martha with his gravelly tenor voice. You felt as if you were walking in on an intimate moment. But when they saw you, they smiled and waved you into the store. Family, friends. Anyone who walked in was welcome to see these old lovebirds act out the song and dance that allowed their marriage and business to weather every storm. You order soup and your favorite hot sandwich, and Martha assembles it with a loaf of fresh peasant bread that she taught Ike how to bake. The golden crust glistens as Martha fills it with your selected items. Ike steals a handful of packaged saltines from Martha's winnings and throws them in the bag with your soup. In the corner of her eye, Martha notices and jokes that he can give away the whole pile, but she still is going to beat him at cards. Martha grabs a sweet dessert that she says is on the house. Everyone deserves something sweet on a stormy day. The first pelts of rain fall onto the earth and patter on the roof and window panes. You've forgotten an umbrella, and Martha notices. She tells Ike to gather one from a bin of forgotten umbrellas collected over the years. You promise to return it tomorrow. But Martha says her hunch is the ice storm will shut them down, and not to worry about it. They charge your purchases to your account, and you wish them a safe night and head out into the rain. It pelts against the umbrella, and you walk across the highway to take a quicker route home along the lake. The lake is a muted kaleidoscope of gray, white, and turquoise chunks of ice that become slick and glossy in the rain. The first major thaw of the season is soon to be interrupted by the brisk change in the air. Charcoal gray plumes of smoke shoot out of a handful of chimneys of the occupied lakeshore cottages. The smell is soothing. The thick rubber soles of your boots carefully balance on the thin layer of ice that forms on the green, blue, and tawny brown pebbles of the beach. The force of the blustering wind against your back is like a person pushing you home. You are grateful to be walking in a favorable direction, and you position the umbrella at an angle to withstand the gusts. You arrive at the secluded beach outside your chalet, and carefully walk on the wet stairs to the cottage. The wind whistles, the shifting ice on the lake crackles, and you take in a deep breath. The air condenses in a gauzy white cloud as you exhale. The cold dampness makes you feel alive. Your face and fingers tingle. Your nose is numb, and you feel the cold air on your teeth. It makes you feel alive. All your thoughts and judgments of the world are silenced by the reality of the storm. It brings you into the now. Nothing exists beyond this very moment as you ascend the hill carefully to enter your chalet. Tiny icicles dangle from the dark wooden eaves and grow by the minute, drip by drip. The vibrantly painted shutters offer pops of color in the dreary grayness of the afternoon. The back of the chalet faces the lake, a wall of glass windows that give you the perfect vantage point from the comforts of your living room. You count the steps as you ascend, as a way of being methodical and careful. Coated with rough salt crystals that you scattered before leaving home, your boots easily and safely find their grip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Climbing the steps, one at a time. The freezing rain continues to patter on the umbrella that keeps you and your general store staples dry. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You arrive at the deck and brush off the thin layer of ice that has formed on the handles of the French doors. Your pet is seated patiently at the entry, and their tail dusts the floor in excitement, wagging back and forth. A rush of warm air from the chalet welcomes you with the aroma of home and cranberry spice candles that you purchased at the local village holiday festival. You set down the paper bag and remove your boots. Tiny golden fairy lights that hang across overhead wooden beams cast the interior of the rustic chalet in charm and dreamy light. The lights remain in use beyond the holiday season until the daylight hours lengthen and warmer weather returns, because they inspire hope. And as you remove your boots, your pet pushes their furry head between your arms and knocks you off balance. You can manage the treacherous landscape brought on by the storm, but your pet is the one who causes you to softly land on the welcome mat as you fall. You laugh and ruffle their fur before they charge through the dining area. You slip your feet into a pair of slippers and take off your outerwear and lean the umbrella against the French doors to dry. The air is warm even before you fire up the wood stove, and it will not take long before the water droplets evaporate off your wet items. The interior design of the chalet is an expression of your inner sanctuary. It showcases mementos, colors, and artwork that enliven your most beloved memories. The chalet is a healing pod, a lakeside refuge that rebuilds you with reminders of who you are and who you wish to be. As the freezing rain comes down harder and a thick layer of ice coats the village, you relish being dry and warm indoors. Goosebumps of delight form on your skin, your entire being awash with serene waves of gratitude and peace. Your pet sniffs at your grocery bag, and you remove it from the floor to unpack it on the kitchen counter. You discover a hidden surprise, a homemade pet biscuit that Martha slipped into the bag next to your sweet dessert. Sometimes you and your furry friend walk to the store together. Your pet is always excited at the sound of Martha's voice, knowing that treats are soon to follow, and gentle pets from her loving hands. You instruct your pet to stay, and once they do, you hand over the treat to watch them race to their bed near the wood stove. You follow behind and ignite the dry kindling and logs within the stove. The wood begins to crackle and pop and splinter, and you close the creaking cast iron door. Your face and fingers have regained feeling, and you pause for a moment to watch the hypnotic flames dance within the stove. Rain pelts on the ice that covers the skylights. The room is dark but for the amber glow of the fire and twinkling ivory fairy lights. You go to the kitchen to grab your lunch and bring the bag to a handcrafted oak coffee table. Your pet sniffs at the air as the savory smell of your soup travels across the room. Their attention returns to their biscuit as you savor each spoonful of soup and bite of your sandwich. Each bite reminds you of the love Martha and Ike put into their general store, welcoming every soul to cross through the door. They are the family and life that you choose because they care about your needs, just as you care about theirs. Like two comforting walls of heat, your meal warms you on the inside, and the wood stove-warmed air of the chalet warms you externally. Your head rests back on oversized throw pillows collected through the years. The fabrics vary from velvet to satin, plush and inviting. You cover yourself with a crocheted chenille throw blanket, and your pet hops onto the sofa and curls up at your feet. The freezing rain continues to coat the chalet as you drift into a nap. The ice forms like a protective layer, and you lucid dream that you are contained with a protective snow globe. The glass windows of the chalet look out onto the icy landscape, and you float between the present moment and dreams of a world made of glassy ice. The crackling fire brings you in and out of consciousness. You are not sure how much time has passed, but when you awaken from the nap, the storm has ended. Your pet stirs as you rise to walk to the French doors. You discover an icy world. In mere hours, the landscape has changed completely. The lake is glassy and still, frozen solid. The delicate tree branches and twigs have doubled in size from the fresh coating of ice. Your pet joins you and stretches, pawing at the door to go out for a walk. You put a jacket on them and bundle yourself for the cold. The winds have died down, and when you step out onto the deck, the world is silent, but for a soft rattle of the icy branches. The air smells of wood smoke, and a metallic whiff of rain and snow. You take in a deep breath, and the cool air purifies you. A waxing gibbous moon glows over the lake and casts the icy landscape in shimmering silver light. Everything in sight is covered in ice and twinkles. The pristine ice refracts moonbeams, and tiny moonbows form on ice-coated blades of honey-hued winter grass. The barren trees surrender to the weight of the ice, as if bowing in respect to Mother Nature. The lush treetops of evergreens arc towards the lake like a crescent moon. The outside world is like a fairy tale coming to life. You and your pet cautiously walk down the stairs towards the frozen earth. It crunches beneath your feet, and your furry pal is confused and cautiously lifts each paw. You cheer them on, overcome by a feeling of excitement and splendor on this magical night. They follow your enthusiasm and race across the icy grass, slipping and regaining balance again and again. You look back at the chalet, and just like in your dream, the brown wood is icy blue beneath the indigo sky, as if made of glass. Icicles drop down from the eaves as thick as carrots plucked from a garden in summer. Their ridges are silvery blue instead of orange, reflecting moonlight. You carefully walk towards the lake and ice-covered dock. An owl hoots, and you imagine it is the white owl you saw on a winter's walk not long ago. The song carries across the lake and reverberates off the ice in a sound as crisp as the air. In the stillness, the temperature is comfortable while bundled. The whipping winds have disappeared, and come morning the world will thaw as spring presses on. You long to capture this moment, every sensation a reminder of the diverse beauty to be found in this season on this ever-changing planet. You and your pet stand as dark silhouettes against the icy blue lake. The sole witnesses to the splendor. You think of Martha and Ike nestled in their cottage. You think of all the enthusiastic souls that will return in spring, having missed out on this sacred moment on the lake. In a world so populated, it's hard to imagine that it is just you here to witness this beauty. You take in a deep breath and prepare to return to the chalet to sleep the night away. Hours have passed. You do return to your warm quarters just before midnight. You and your pet climb the stairs to the loft, where you often sleep on winter nights. You change into warm flannel pajamas and climb beneath crisp cotton sheets and a downy comforter that is heavy and smells of fresh laundry. Your beloved animal settles at the end of the bed. They are your most reliable foot warmer. You sink your head into the pillows, and your mind rewinds through all the pleasurable sensations that accompanied the day, heightened by the looming storm and cold, damp air. You remember the hot soup, the burning embers of the wood stove, the nuzzling head of your pet, the warm rush of air when you entered the general store and your chalet sanctuary, the stack of oversized pillows that brought you to lucid dreams, the cotton sheets that balance softness and the slightest friction that helps you settle into the bed. You drift between worlds, your waking and sleeping life. You are in a dreamy haze of contentment, just floating, drifting, and imagining what it would feel like to soar across the lake beneath the moon. Your scarf flying on the wind as you skate across the icy turquoise lake beneath the ice-coated branches that twinkle like silvery blue fairy lights. You glide with pure elation. Your spirit soars, and you are free to be formless and travel where your dreams lead you. Cast in the moonlight, you skate and balance on the ice and are joined by your best animal friend. They are like your shadow in this dream within a dream. And as you skate your way to sleep, I am going to count you down towards a night of healing and restoration, where you may enjoy the limitless, soothing display of sensations your dreaming life has to offer. Succumbing to peace and slumber, or allowing yourself to fall into the next story. Summer at the Lake Chalet. Virginia Woolf wrote, "The lake of my mind, unbroken by oars, heaves placidly and soon sinks into an oily somnolence." These words accompany every journey you take to Vermont, as your mind mirrors the lake. You sleep better here than anywhere else you have been on this planet. On the first day of your getaway, you walk through the bucolic landscape of Vermont during the busy summer season as twigs snap beneath your sandaled feet. Occasionally, a rusty brown pine needle or two sticks to the rubber soles and leaves a sharp, sweet cologne of pine pitch. Laughter, conversations, and timeless yacht rock tunes carry across the lake to the forested path where you walk with a dear companion. In quieter seasons, you have come to the chalet by the lake to connect with yourself and nature. But on this journey, you share the experience with one of your favorite people. Even as ripples and waves form on the lake from children remembering how to swim and vacationers navigating their small boats, in a single breath, you can still connect with the placid, quiet beauty. Periwinkle and yellow wildflowers whisper on the soft breeze, beckoning you to surrender to their pulchritude. Their tiny petals rustle as if to say, "This will not last forever. Enjoy us while you can." Your companion walks behind you as you lead them to the heart of town. Your heart swells with a chance to share the charm of this village and the kindness of the locals. You walk the familiar path to the general store, made anew by the lush flora of summer. Your last visit still carried the chill of winter, and the patches of unmelted snow have transformed into fertile soil where mushrooms sprout from the damp forest floor. You look at your companion, perhaps a friend or a romantic interest, or perhaps someone you lost touch with long ago. This person is someone you have missed deeply at times in your life. They are someone you longed to share new adventures with and grow a deeper bond over cherishing the simple things together. You peer at the crystal blue sky through a dark green feathery canopy of evergreen branches. Pillowy white clouds with an opal gleam skirt across the sky, carefree and windswept. In the splendor of this moment, you long for nothing. Completely content, you are conscious of every step and every piece of nature that greets you. You and your companion dress in comfortable summery attire, with nautical shades of blue and matching hats bought for this lakeside getaway. The brim protects your eyes from the white-hot streaks of afternoon sunlight that pour on the clearing that leads to the highway and general store. You discover a row of fresh blackberry bushes that overflow with juicy dark purple berries. You show your companion, and together you pluck a handful worth and savor the sweet, plump berries on your palate. You take in a deep breath and listen to the chirping birds and croaking frogs as you let the berry linger on your tongue. Every sensation that exists all at once fills you with bliss and the taste of summer. When you and your companion have finished the blackberries, you tease one another for your purple-black tongues. The evidence of this impromptu experience makes you feel like a child left with the electric blue marks of a popsicle bought on a whim from an ice cream truck. Yet rather than be self-conscious, you are proud of the blackberry stains. They are the marks of a summery delight. You walk along the grassy shoulder of a 2-lane highway that weaves through the town and connects to far-off cities. Picnic tables are scattered around the rust-brown cabin that has been the home of the local general store for nearly a century. Families and friends dine on fresh sandwiches made by the owners, Martha and Ike. Martha and Ike are the heart and soul of the town. They become the honorary grandparents for all who visit this part of Vermont, whether they are merely passing through or on an extended stay. You and your companion walk up the steps and open the creaky screen door into the store. It softly slams against the wood frame once closed behind you. A tiny silver bell rings, and the soft melody is lost in the animated conversations of patrons loading up on food staples, coconut-scented sunscreens, citronella candles, and firewood. A Motown song plays through the loudspeaker, broadcast from an old record player placed near the cash register. Sunlight filters through the 4-paned windows and illuminates golden specks of dust, remnants of the winter and spring that will soon sail away as the screen door opens and shuts thousands of times in this busy season. Martha and Ike recognize you immediately and leave from behind the counter to welcome you in a warm embrace. Martha's hugs come like a big wave that wraps around your back as she squeezes you close to her heart as if you were her very own. She steps away and hugs your companion and explains that any guest of yours is family to her as well. Ike hugs you with a solid pat on the back. And even if there are times that you have felt uncomfortable with hugs, in this cozy general store, you feel safe and welcome them. A tall brunette in a floral wrap dress stands behind the cash register, and Martha excitedly introduces her as their daughter, Laurel. Laurel's eyes mischievously sparkle like Martha's, and she has the easygoing demeanor of her father. She teases her parents for not taking a break on this beautiful day or indulging in a nap at their age. But it's no surprise that they would prefer to be in their store during the busiest hours, invigorated by the energy of the summer crowds. At this point, the store is an extension of their loving commitment to the town and each other. Martha goes behind the counter to grab a brown paper bag folded at the top. On it, your name is written in elegant cursive with a Sharpie. I had a dream you'd be back and a feeling that it would be today. I've lived long enough to know when to trust my hunches. I think you'll appreciate this later today, Martha says, as she hands the bag to you. Ike laughs and says, I've learned to trust her hunches too. Somehow she always knows where to cast a line on the lake and when to take the weather reports seriously. By the look on Laurel's face, you can tell she's experienced many of her mother's hunches too. Before you leave the shop, you grab a bottle of sunscreen and a stack of dry firewood. Martha adds it to your tab, a courtesy that always makes you feel as if you have traveled to a kinder, simpler time. It's a privilege to be trusted. An up-tempo song begins to play, and Martha and Ike return to the sandwich station behind the counter, dancing as they often do and have for decades. Their joy shines brightly, sparking the light in everyone to visit the rustic general store that few people on the planet have heard of, but those who have visited will never forget. You say goodbye and step out into the late day sun with your companion. The air is redolent with the aromas of charcoal grills in the backyards of cabins and cottages along the road. Even at the peak of summer, there is an ease to the town. No one is in a rush. Even when convertibles and SUVs stacked with rooftop cargo and kayaks create traffic on the busy bookends of the weekend. People come to this piece of Vermont to take in the piney air and the tranquil lake, and to remember that life is about more than hustling. The purity of nature always reminds them. You take a different route through town and balance the firewood on your hip, feeling pliable, soft weathered splinters on your arm. You revel in your strength, grateful for your health as you guide your companion to the lakeside beach outside your chalet. You rest the firewood along the brick walls of the fire pit in the center of a pebble beach. The tiny, smooth stones click and clack beneath your feet. You keep the paper bag and tropical sunscreen with you. You guide your friend to the dock and feel the wooden planks bob on the gentle waves created by a distant motorboat. Before going out on the water, you and your companion apply one last layer of sunscreen from the new bottle and inhale the aroma of coconut and papaya. You assist your companion into the cornflower blue paddle boat. Once they settle, you guide yourself into the boat and remove a frayed yellow rope that wraps around the silver cast iron dock cleat. Your companion sets the paper bag from Martha on the plastic console between you. Together, you guide the pedals beneath your feet and journey towards the center of the lake. The sensation is unique, like riding a bike through silky, reflective water. The farther you paddle, the richer the aroma of the lake becomes. It carries the faint hint of fish and wet clay, mixed with the flinty smell of wet rocks on a rainy night. The lake is quiet at this hour, as everyone cleans up from a day spent leisurely swimming, boating, and fishing to prepare for outdoor dinners hosted on cabin decks and patios. The sun dips lower behind a silhouette of cedar and white pine trees. A vibrant orange-gold stream of light turns the soft ripples on the lake into gentle molten copper waves. Your curiosity can bear no more waiting, and you reach for the paper bag from the general store. Enclosed, you find 2 bottles of a carbonated drink made in Vermont that you have not seen before. Condensation forms on the glass exterior, and the water beads refract light into tiny rainbows. Everything about this moment is sparkly and opulent. You admire your companion and how the golden hour light illuminates their skin that already has a healthy summer glow. You feel as vibrant as the saturated hues of sunset. This transitional time magnifies the simple pleasures. You and your companion twist off the silver metal cap of the drinks and clink the glasses in a toast that celebrates the now. You take a sip, and the effervescent elixir causes your mouth and throat to tingle as the liquid soothes and refreshes you all at once. It is the right balance of sweet and acidic, with a complex flavor that lingers like baking spices in the air after a day of pie making. You lose track of time. It is something that often happens when you are with this particular companion. And as it slips through your fingers, you imagine a velvet satchel collecting the moments like golden droplets that you will revisit whenever you need to remember what it's like to feel fantastic. The boat rocks gently back and forth as a small pontoon boat passes. Flashes of silver dart across the lake's surface as fish breach the water for a nighttime feeding of aquatic insects. You look down along the side of the boat to discover a baby painted turtle that has been flipped upside down by the waves and struggles to right itself. You cup your hands together and dip them into the cool lake to retrieve the turtle. It's not much larger than a silver dollar. Your companion smiles as you observe the red-orange stripes on the dark green body. The turtle withdraws quickly into its shell, but as you run your finger gently across the top of the shell, its head pops out curiously and its neck snakes around so it may make eye contact with you. You decide to bring the turtle back with you as you and your companion begin to pedal and return to the dock. Once you are in more shallow waters, you release the turtle back into the lake. It looks back at you before speeding towards the pebble beach to rest. You carefully dock the boat as twilight sets in. The hill to the chalet is aglow from golden solar lights that line the path to your home. Fireflies come out, adding their pulsing chartreuse light to the magical evening. The lake is still and glassy, reflecting the lights of cabins and the sapphire blue sky. You pause to admire the gradients of blues that lighten towards the horizon into a dreamy band of shimmering peach. Stars appear hours before the moon will rise. But in your heart you know the moon will arrive too soon. As hours pass like minutes on perfect summer nights like this. Your companion starts the fire while you ascend the hill to the chalet. You walk up the stairs to the deck and open the French doors where your pet waits, eager to join you outside by the fire. Your beloved animal brushes their downy fur against your bare, sun-kissed calves and follows close to your heels as you return to the pebble beach. The fire is blazing high, and flames the color of tiger lilies lick the night air with a quick yet gentle rhythm. You sit in a custom Adirondack chair, painted linen white and weathered over years of use. The wood grains feel velvety beneath your palms. The back of the chair contours around your spine, and you surrender into its support. Your companion becomes just as relaxed, and your pet settles on the cool pebbles between your chairs. You remove your sandals to feel the smooth ivory, burgundy, slate blue, and jade green pebbles beneath your tired feet. The stones offer a form of acupressure and release tension. The crackles and pops of the fire join the sounds of occasional splashes of fish and frogs. A half moon rises and casts the lake in a silver glow as the amber glow of the flames reflects on the water, keeps you warm. It's a night of silver and gold. Crickets and frogs sing out their nocturnal songs as the screech of cicadas lend a percussive tone. You and your companion drift in and out of conversations, recalling the best memories you have shared and the hopes for more to come. And when you run out of things to say, you sit in the comfortable silence that only exists in safe places with those you love. You place one log after the next onto the fire, feeding the flame's hunger with a dry, brittle wood. The fragrance of charred wood and sweet smoke awakens a primal feeling of comfort and hope felt by humankind for thousands of years. Your eyes become heavy and you close them, succumbing to a meditative state. The soft breeze kisses your skin, and you sigh along to the sounds of rustling trees and slow lapping water. You are lost in time, only aware of how late it is when the flames become embers and the logs become ash. You look at your companion, who basks in the moonlight and meets your eyes with love as soft and sweet as warm caramel. Without a word, you agree it's time to return to the chalet to sleep the night away. The breeze off the lake transports a chill in the air. The nights in Vermont often contrast the hot, sunny days to offer the ideal weather for sleeping. Your companion wraps their arm around you, rubbing a palm up and down your arm to warm you. You ascend the hill together. Your pet races you to the top of the hill to then wait at the bottom of the deck stairs. You lead the trio up the steps, followed by your companion and then your pet. And from that moment you cross through the threshold. The night unfolds like a series of snapshots in a dream that capture the warm shower, the smell of lavender soap, a plush towel, soft bedclothes, minty toothpaste, and a warm hug from your companion before you retreat to the sanctuary of the loft and your companion retires to their room. You snuggle in the bed, soon joined by your pet. Skylights overhead reveal a starry sky and luminous moon. Your eyes blear as you fight to keep them open and revel in the beauty of the Milky Way before drifting to sleep. But you cannot fight the urge much longer, and your eyelids fall into your eyes like heavy drapes. You drift between worlds, between your waking and sleeping life. You are in a dreamy haze of contentment, floating, drifting, and letting go. You inhale the fresh Vermont night air. The aroma soothes your senses, softening the transition to sleep or to the next season at the Lake Chalet. Autumn gold, golden topaz rays of sunlight become richer around the autumn equinox, pouring over Lake Reverie like orange blossom honey. The air is as sweet as molasses, the scent brought on by the breakdown of sugars in decaying leaves. The shoulder season brings leaf peepers on the weekends, but weekdays are quiet as the population dwindles and children return to school. Yellow school buses replace the traffic of summer visitors on rural roads that wind around the lake over rolling hills like graphite streams. The weather is fickle in Vermont this time of year, and the evidence of autumn appears here earlier than other states along the eastern seaboard. In the afternoon sun, your skin is kissed by the warmth of summer. but come nightfall, temperatures edge around welcoming a late night frost. You explore the grounds of Clover Meadows, a local dairy farm with apple orchards, corn mazes, pumpkin patches, and sunflower fields. You walk along the perimeter of towering sunflowers that arc towards the sun as if the blazing orb is there to teach them something they want to hear. Their hardy green stems are the thickest and strongest they will be, and their full blooms tower over you by a foot or two. Sunflowers in full bloom, and their lush dark green leaves blanket the rolling meadows for as far as the eye can see. The brown centers are like plush brown velvet cushions, and butter yellow petals evoke thoughts of happiness and sunshine. Wispy white clouds drift across a vibrant blue sky, guided by a breeze that carries the coolness of fall. You walk through the sunflower fields with your arms guiding the handlebars of a vintage bike that you push along. You inhale deeply, enchanted by the sunflower's magnificent height, and almost saddened that soon their season will end. They susurrate in the soft wind, whispering a promise they will return again. You've lived through enough seasons to know that everything returns again, sometimes in the form you remember, and sometimes remarkably changed. A dirt path leads you around the sunflower fields, towards a paved road that cuts through the rolling hills and leads to the main farmhouse. You hop up on the banana seat and ride the bike downhill as the wind sweeps against your skin and makes you feel alive. You soar, smiling with the same sense of freedom you first felt when you mastered riding a bike and used the momentum to pedal up the next incline. At the highest point, you can see the pumpkin patches and fields of corn that ripple on the wind like straw-hued waves. A maze winds through the stalks, and from your vantage point, you can make out the many dead ends and exit points to the corn maze. A young black Labrador runs around the porch of a rustic farmhouse painted buttercream yellow. A few patches of paint peel away from the facade, adding charm to the 19th century dwelling. You ride beyond the farmhouse and apple orchards, recently open to the public for picking. Macintosh Empires, Fuji Crispin and Red Delicious apples add pops of pink, yellow, green, and red that shine like dangling ornaments from the verdant branches. Fallen apples scatter across the grass like a storybook illustration. You stop to pick enough apples to fill the metal basket on your bike with your favorite varietals. Your hand grasps the spherical fruit, and you pull strongly to snap the stems from the branches. The apples are cool and firm in your hand, and you are more aware of the visual details of these apples than you normally would be. You notice the way the vibrant hues of the shiny skin blend together, dappled with tiny green and red dots. You notice how the stems curl, some retaining a leaf or two. In this moment, you wish you could capture the constant stream of beautiful imagery encountered at the farm with brushstrokes of oil paint on canvas. You ride your bike to the farm stand near the barn, where Lucy, the matriarch of the family, rests in a rocking chair and noshes on an apple while finishing a crossword puzzle. She has spent most of her 85 years on this farm, teaching her siblings, her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren how to peel an apple in one piece with a paring knife, how to make apple cider and donuts, how to tend to the cows, the dogs and puppies, the ducks and chickens, and how to love this small piece of Vermont with all their hearts. With one glance, Lucy can guess the weight of the apples, and you trust her judgment when she quotes you the price. She sells you on a mason jar of caramel dip she made fresh from the cream milked from the cows earlier in the week that will pair perfectly with the apples. You thank Lucy and pay her. As you do, she offers for you to come spend a day at the farm next time, and she'll learn you a few things. You smile, confident that one day you just might. You've promised to meet Martha and Ike at the general store. Each year they host a family gathering at their lakeside home to make the most of unsold items from the summer season. This is the first year you've been invited, and feel honored to be part of a community that thrives throughout the quieter seasons and harsh winter months. The locals know Lake Reverie in a different way. With generations of family members who came before them and built the town, they have a deep sense of pride and loyalty. You get on your bike and ride on Farm to Market Road to the main highway. You pedal along the wide shoulder beneath a canopy of changing trees. The greens have begun to fade, and bands of gold, orange, red, and magenta create an ombre effect. The sun filters through the clouds, and you welcome the reprieve of the shade. Your body is warm from riding. Your muscles feel strong and capable. Every breath comes with ease, deeper and more purposeful the closer you get to the general store. The air has a familiar smell that always takes you back to fond memories at the Lake Chalet. You revel in the wonders of the olfactory hub and how vulnerable you are to the power of smell as memories filed away and seemingly forgotten come to life. Whenever this happens, you recognize how your body is a remarkable library, keeping track of every detail of your journey in places in your body with conscious effort. You think of the millions of things your body does for you to enjoy this beautiful September day. A monarch butterfly flutters over the tall blades of emerald grass that border the shoulder of the highway. It follows you, hovering over your shoulder. The velvety creature is full of vitality that will be needed to migrate south for the winter. Its voyage is coming soon. It flies around you as if to say goodbye, and then disappears into the woods. A white-haired man in a green flannel shirt drives by in an old blue pickup truck and waves at you as if you're longtime friends. His eyes glitter in the late afternoon light and evoke kindness. The longtime residents of Lake Reverie look out for one another like family and revel in the autumnal activities to be found in Vermont. Halloween decorations come out the last week of September, and the month is celebrated with hayrides, costume parades, lakeside bonfires, and an autumn fair where locals compete to use apples to create new recipes. As your mind drifts from one reverie to the next of autumn splendor, you ride up to the general store to meet Martha and Ike. Soulful music plays through the open screen door of the rustic wooden building. There are few times one can enter the general store and not hear an uplifting tune. More often than not, Ike and Martha can be seen dancing around the shop. You arrive just in time to help them with boxes overflowing with summer favorites, items to barbecue, and glow sticks and sparklers. Cinnamon brooms, pumpkins, and corn stalks decorate the store and aromatize the dry, warm air. You've come into the store so many times that Martha treats you as if you were her own child or grandchild. You help Ike with the boxes, and she playfully pats him on the rear to speed up. He says in 61 years of marriage, she's been the secret to keeping him sharp and agile. Gravel and dirt crunch beneath your feet as you walk on the driveway, and Ike leads you around to the back of his truck. You pile the boxes into the bed of the vehicle, and he offers you a ride to their cabin. You politely decline, more out of habit than disinterest, to find Martha pushing your bike towards the truck with a determined smile. You know well enough that Martha tends to make the rules, and it doesn't bother you much because it comes from a place of care. She has the rugged delivery and spirit of Katharine Hepburn at times, her voice often taking on a Bryn Mawr accent whenever proving her point. Within minutes, the bike is stowed, and you are seated between Martha and Ike, jostling with each bump on the rural road to their home. You ride beneath a canopy of pine trees and balsam fir. Minty evergreen perfume travels through the open windows of the truck as it comes to Ike and Martha's property. Ike pulls up to the side of the cabin and parks. Their property offers the most breathtaking vantage point on the lake for sunset. The sun pours a beacon of light across the heart of the glassy lake. Vibrant streaks of pineapple yellow, candy pink, turquoise, and mauve paint the sky. The lake is a mirror and doubles the beauty of sunset skies. Martha and Ike exit the truck, and you follow behind them. The three of you pause to take in the beauty of sunset as a loon's song echoes across the water, letting you know it also bears witness to the special moment. Crickets chirp and dragonflies take flight across the lake, creating an occasional ripple on the placid water. The sun disappears beyond the horizon, and the sky remains vibrant for another hour as you join Ike and Martha's kids and grandchildren on a deck overlooking the lake. Rainbow silk lanterns hang from wooden beams around the deck, illuminating the gathering in a glow as warm and colorful as the conversation and energy. Laurel, who you met this summer for the first time, helps the grandchildren set the table. Citronella candles flicker in its center, warding off mosquitoes with a strong citrusy aroma. You help unload the truck in a few trips and bring items to Ike and his son Ike Jr. at the grill. The rhythm of the gathering is natural and intuitive. With the flow of people who have gathered many times before and know their roles and what they can contribute, you could not feel more welcome. And observing them is as entertaining as watching a 1980s family sitcom. Dinner is soon served, and everyone gathers around a wooden table that has served the family for over 50 years and can seat as many as 16 people. Every object in this cabin could tell a story, and this table has memories stored in its wood grains. You can feel the energy of love that transpired over candlelit dinners overlooking Lake Reverie. Of the dozens of selections on the table to eat, the sweet, charred smell of grilled sweet potatoes lingers most in the air. Every time you smell this fragrance again, you will be brought back to this familial gathering and the last warm night of the year. Sounds of laughter and conversation from the dinner travel across the lake and echoes. Lake Reverie doubles the sonic beauty of the night as it magnifies the visual splendor of the sky and changing trees that reflect on the water. Sliced apples with Lucy's warmed caramel sauce are served to everyone's delight. Once everyone is satiated, the family pitches in, and you help them so the cleanup takes little time at all. Silver stars scatter across a midnight blue sky, reflecting on the lake in the company of a crescent moon. Martha and Ike's son and grandchildren run across the hill that leads to the lake with sparklers in hand that create white gold streaks through the darkness. Martha and Ike's love story could inspire the most cynical minds and broken hearts. For over 60 years, they chose one another and did it happily. They have built a legacy that lights up the evening with sparklers and laughter. Ike's strong, calloused hand wraps around Martha's slender, veiny fingers as you ask how they first fell in love. Martha talks about the summer of 1956, when a group of kids from school celebrated the end of the school year, running full speed into the lake and swimming in their clothes. Ike stayed on the shore, and the color left his face in what she recognized as terror. She came out of the water and talked to him, as other schoolmates teased him and splashed water. From that day on, early each morning, before their shifts at their summer jobs began, Martha patiently and lovingly got Ike more comfortable with the lake and taught him how to swim. It would take 2 months before he let the water come above his knees. But with the promise of a kiss, by early September they would canoe across the lake and swim in a cove together. They were inseparable after that summer, and married a year later, jumping into the lake in their wedding clothes, making a vow to always help one another overcome life's hurdles and fears with grace. We were kids at the time and didn't know that a promise so simple would keep us together this long. We focused on enjoying the simple things together. People today don't have to get married, and it's not for everyone. It doesn't have to be. But if you're gonna go for it, then have a common goal together. Ike reveals that they still rise with the sun on the longest of summer days and swim together, as they have done for over 60 years. Ike rises and kisses Martha on the forehead. Laura looks at you and smiles, proud of her parents for who they are and all they have given to her. The grandkids call for everyone to join them at the fire pit that overlooks the lake. In summer, the perimeter of the lake is often dappled with marmalade flames of campfires at each property. But on this quiet autumn night, you are the only ones to be seen. Together, the 4 of you travel down the path to the fire pit and settle into canvas chairs. The kids roast marshmallows they proudly deliver to the adults, perfecting the burn to everyone's preferences. The moon rises high above the lake and casts the dark blue water in an opal luster. As the night wanes on, you grow quiet and consider the concept of love. How in this life you may find people who become your chosen family and make you feel more welcome in their company than you have ever felt before. You never know when someone new will walk into your life and create such a magnificent connection. Then you cannot imagine a time before it. Martha and Ike and their family make you feel this way. They love you as you come. They celebrate you as you are. And they offer the encouragement to become whoever you wish to be. They do that for every soul that has walked into their general store. Tiredness creeps in as you watch the flames dwindle into embers. It's time to go home and you say goodnight, hugging everyone at the gathering. Every embrace is different, a transfer of energy. You come to Martha and Ike last, and they remind you that you are always welcome in their home. You ride your bike back to the chalet beneath the blue-black shadows of the trees before you emerge into the silver moonlight the temperature has dropped significantly, and you look forward to the warmth of your chalet and cuddling with your beloved pet. You inhale deeply through your nose, and the lakeside air is warmed before it hits your lungs. Everything about this moment feels clean, pure, and enhanced by the magic of the autumn equinox. You enter your chalet through the French doors from the back deck and are greeted by your pet. You let them race down the stairs and across the lawn. You look out at the lake to see the fading orange embers of the fire that are as small as glitter at Martha and Ike's. You send them a loving thought and gratitude before your pet returns to you, and you go inside the lofty chalet for a night of deep sleep. Soon nestled in your bed with your pet, you're comforted by the smells of the cabin, of wood, sweet books, and the smell you associate with home. Your mind drifts with the grace of a dragonfly gliding across the still lake. Your heart is warm. Your breathing is relaxed. And your mind is open to all the possibilities for connection and joy in this life. The mood is set for a night of sweet, comforting dreams. Give in to the autumn gold that lingers in your mind, its warmth radiating and leading you to slumber or the next story. Firefly dance at the Lake Chalet. At least not to your knowledge. There has never been a town so enthusiastic and reverent when it comes to the return of the fireflies each year. Perhaps because in most places, it seems to be a mystery when the fireflies will awaken from their underground dwellings and join life above the forest floor. They revel in the dampness and warmth of late spring, lighting up the sky after the earth has thawed. The townspeople of Lake Reverie wager bets around when the neon yellow flickers of the beloved beings will illuminate the forests, meadows, and lake. Whoever is correct becomes the honorary marshal of the Firefly Parade that spontaneously forms to commence a week of celebrations that correlate with their return. Picnics, barbecues, meditations, and even a firefly dance take place during this time. The week always leaves room for contemplative nights before the sleepy town becomes a popular summer destination and the roads swell with overpacked vehicles and families. There are times you walk on the narrow path that winds through the woods to Martha and Ike's general store and feel as though you are revisiting a childhood dream. You walk alone, listening intently to songs of birds that flutter about in the early evening light. You appreciate the fact that the days are longer as sunset inches past 9 o'clock. You encounter young animals of the forest around every bend on your route. You feel a sense of trust with them as you respectfully keep your distance and observe baby bunnies hopping along the edge of the path. A red-backed salamander perches on the roots of a white pine tree. Its vibrant color contrasts the pitch-dappled pine cones and freshly fallen needles that carpet the forest floor. You take in a deep breath. The minty evergreen perfume and sweet smells of the damp earth marry a hint of baked goods that wafts on a soft breeze. One of two things always alerts you to the proximity of the general store: the redolent, yeasty aroma of Martha and Ike's baked delights, or the familiar squeaks and slams of the wooden screen door as it opens and closes with customers during the busier seasons. Either one of these experiences comforts you, and you feel your muscles relax and your shoulders lower. You feel your jaw unclench and your eyes lighten. It feels like visiting the loving grandparents depicted in early sitcoms or children's storybooks, in a time and place where kindness is valued, where mishaps were trivial and easily overcome with the support of a community. When you wander through this town, you always feel the sense of community that is vital to thriving. And yet at the same time, your Lake Chalet offers privacy for moments of introspection and learning more about yourself, and for days when you just need to get cozy and forget the world. As your feet land on the crunchy forest floor, you connect with the earth and feel grounded, balanced, harmoniously belonging to the moment and letting it lead you without expectations or even a plan. When you come upon the general store, you smile as you always do, anticipating the kind, sparkling eyes and warm embraces of Martha and Ike. And while they've run the shop out of a rustic cabin for decades, they are always up to something new and creative. Whether trying a new recipe, rearranging the shop, or celebrating the latest trends in recreation and arts and crafts. Martha always declares, "Variety is the spice of life, my dear." You ascend the creaking steps and open the screen door to the general store. The sweet maple smell of old wood travels in the air, welcoming you. always curious about what music will be playing. This week's selections have all been French covers of pop songs, given a bossa nova beat. Over the winter, Martha revisited the French language, something she dabbled in during college, having never learned much beyond the basics in order to help serve guests from Quebec. You also notice the vast array of Firefly merchandise, from mason jars containing yellow fairy lights to hand-painted canvas bags depicting fireflies lighting up the lake and forest. The baked goods that you smelled on your walk are decorated with chartreuse sprinkles and encouraging messages like "Shine your light" scrawled across them in vibrant yellow icing. Ike is tinkering with a display case he built to house a new shipment of sunscreen and summer essentials. Martha sits behind the cash register, perusing a French fashion magazine. "Bonjour, ami." "Hello, friend," she says when she sees you. She steps out from behind the counter to welcome you with a hug. It's been some time since your last visit to the chalet, but it always feels like you just saw one another whenever you reconnect. "How have you been, sweetheart?" She tells Ike to go get your Firefly bag, a custom gift you ordered for yourself to celebrate your first time being here for some of the festivities. Ike says hello before disappearing into the storage closet, where all the gift bags were assembled with the help of their grandkids in the weeks leading up to May. The Fireflies arrived a few nights ago, and given her history of great hunches, it's no surprise Martha guessed their arrival to the day and was the parade marshal. She excitedly fills you in and then asks what's new with you. It's comforting to confide in her. Being in her presence inspires a deep sense of resilience, an understanding that no matter what happens in life, joy may be found. She's living proof of this. Martha teems with empathy that validates your feelings in the way her eyes soften and her head tilts with intrigue. Ike comes out with your bag, and you smile to discover your Lake Chalet has been painted on the front canvas in the style of Van Gogh. The whimsical swirls and lines capture the silky lake, dashing fireflies, and a silhouette in the likeness of you and your pet by a fire pit. Martha happily lets you know a few surprises have been thrown in for you to enjoy when you get home. Ike explains the town used to only have an annual Firefly dance to celebrate the season. But with each new year, the hoopla has grown and grown. Martha's eyes light up as she mentions how she fell in love with Ike on the night of a Firefly dance that they both missed due to work and family obligations when they were just teens. Exhausted at the end of a long day, they met for a walk along the lakeshore, just as the last song of the dance played from the gazebo. The music of a live band traveled across the water as they stood together in the moonlight. And then, out of nowhere, all the fireflies congregated around them on the pebbled beach. Martha asked Ike to dance. He was always a touch shyer than she was back then, and he promised that if she ever were to consider spending her life with him, they would dance together every day. Their faces are both lost in this pleasant memory. Another time, another life. You ask if Ike kept his promise, and Martha chuckles and says, "Oh yeah, he did. There were times I was so livid at that man that we didn't speak for days. But we still danced, even on the days we could only muster a gentle sway or finger dance. We made it happen." Ike pipes in that the fireflies light up the sky in their mating dance, so it was only natural to fall in love during their return. A familiar song begins to play in French, something you've heard dozens of times. The tempo slowed down, and with a beat that swings. Ike looks at you and says, "Don't mind us, kid." And they dance. An irregular visitor to the general store has seen them dance at least once before, and you watch them for a moment, warmed to the core by their authentic connection. There may have been times in life the cynical voice in your head would find this experience to be maudlin or over the top. But given the harshness of recent years, every drop of sweetness becomes precious. The last sunlight of the day filters through the canopy of evergreens surrounding the shop and pours through the old windows of the store like a golden spotlight on Martha and Ike. The ethereal light always seems to find them. It entrances you, and you imagine them so many decades ago, enjoying new love as they danced with the fireflies. They continue to sway as you say goodbye and slip out through the screen door, careful to close it behind you. You walk back through the woods as creatures of the day enjoy their last adventures before sheltering in their dens and nests for the night. You return to your chalet just in time to watch the sunset over the lake. Every time you watch the fiery sunrise above or disappear behind Lake Reverie, you feel a deep desire to seek out more sunrises and sunsets. It becomes too easy to miss them when life is busy. You stand on the shore, removing your shoes and placing your feet on the coarse sand and cool pebbles. The water this time of year is a toe-numbing reminder of the glaciers that once carved out and formed the lake. Yet you enjoy the sense of aliveness the water brings as gentle waves lap over your feet. You are deeply grateful that the days will only get warmer going forward. As the sun disappears, the first fireflies flicker between tall blades of grass and velvety brown cattails along the shore. The chirps of crickets accompany you as you walk barefoot up the grassy hill to your chalet. You set the firefly bag on an Adirondack chair and gather kindling and a few dry logs from the woodshed to start a fire. All around the lake, long-time residents gather and start fires for this night of introspection and firefly gandering. The kindling starts to burn, and the logs soon catch, crackling and popping as orange sparks fly toward the sunset skies. You walk to the chalet, climbing the steps to the deck to let out your pet to enjoy the night with you. Your furry companion greets you with a high-pitched sound and then races down the steps to sniff the grass. You return to the fire, lifting the firefly bag to sit in the chair. Your pet joins you in the other chair, curling up comfortably as the amber firelight reflects in their saucer eyes. You reach your hands into the canvas bag to pull out your favorite baked treat with an icing message written in cursive by Martha. It's personalized with your name and reads, "Light up the world." You place it on a glass side table and continue to explore the contents of the bag. You find a piece of luxurious stationery folded perfectly into a square with a metallic gold firefly sticker holding it closed. You open it in the light of the fire and read a letter from the town that begins, "Dear friend, the more you shine your light, the more you inspire others to do the same." Fireflies remind us that even the smallest light shines brightly in the dark of night. Below the message is a poem by Robert Frost called "Fireflies in the Garden." Here come real stars to fill the upper skies, and here on earth come emulating flies, that though they never equal stars in size, and they were never really stars at heart, achieve at times a very star-like start, only of course they can't sustain the part. You smile and sit back to watch the fireflies flying overhead while enjoying your treat made by Martha. Dashes of light weave like neon ribbons as they flicker their intentions and messages in the blue hues of twilight. Laughter and murmurs carry across the lake, accented by croaking frogs and the persistent songs of crickets and crackles and pops of the fire. And you become lost in the hypnotic motion of sparks flying towards the sky and fireflies flying towards one another against the backdrop of an inky blue sky twinkling with stars. There are moments when you cannot tell if there are more stars or fireflies, but every flicker of light becomes more beautiful and comforting the darker the sky becomes. The temperature dips, and the cool air creates a lovely contrast with the heat of the fire. You notice your pet looking up at the fireflies in awe as well. Your dear companion's eyes sparkle with a sense of wonder and appreciation. You recognize that all life sparkles in its own way. Fireflies sparkle effortlessly, never dimming their lights for the sake of those who dwell in the dark. And you realize the power in shining your light, no matter what may try to interfere or dim it. Martha knows this well, for she has lived a long life, and each new year brings more opportunities to be true to yourself and light up the dark. The fireflies move gracefully through the sky, each one floating with ease. In their own way, they experience the elation that comes when the sharpness of winter is replaced with the warmth of summer, their season to shine. You watch the fireflies hover over the placid blue lake as the moon rises in the sky, overcome by a wave of deep reverence and peace. Like the crystalline water, your mind becomes clear and reflective, so connected with everything around you. You feel your life force and internal power as you take in a deep breath. Sometimes it feels as if nature is the only thing that gives you total permission to simply be. And while the crickets and frogs continue to sing out, the logs burn into magenta embers. Everyone else on the lake has retreated to their chalets and cottages after a night of celebrating the fireflies. You rise and bring a watering can to the fire pit, slowly pouring water on it to put out the embers. The water transforms into steam with a soothing sizzle that brings a finality to the night. Your pet waits for you to guide them home, yawning and fighting to keep their eyes open. Within minutes, you are in your room, your pet already settled at the end of the bed. You open the Firefly bag to discover another gift, a mason jar full of fairy lights. You turn it on and place it on the bedstand. Once changed into pajamas, you crawl into bed as a breeze off the lake blows through the screen windows. And through the skylight above the bed, you can see the stars and a few fireflies. You drift between worlds, fireflies dancing along with you as you cherish the soothing space between wakefulness and sleep. You are in a dreamy haze of contentment. Your body sways in an ethereal dance, moving with the same freedom of the fireflies, the campfire sparks, and the ripples on the lake. The fluidity of the moment makes you feel more in love with your body and the sensations of being alive than you have felt in a while. Every breath comes and goes with ease, relieving you of earthly concerns as you venture into your dreamscape, floating, drifting, and letting go, enjoying a night of sleep or the last story in this cozy collection. Fireside Memories at the Lake Chalet. Everyone who's managed to pass through the small village of Lake Reverie in Vermont has heard of Martha and Ike. Their fanfare goes back decades, fed by tales of road trips and summer holidays spent traveling through or staying within the lakeside community. Their general store was more than a pit stop. It was a touchstone, a ritual, a magical place where core memories were formed. The sweet thoughts of these vacations could be called upon by the mere smell of sweet log walls, dusty wooden floors, and baked confections. The melodious summer sounds of a squeaking and slamming screen door would forever be a portal, bringing people back to the charming general store. Back at a time when cell phones were non-existent, Martha and Ike were often the first to help stranded travelers along the highway outside their shop. From flat tires or more urgent repairs, they were always there to offer a smile and a baked treat as families and couples and solo adventurers awaited help. They never set out to be local icons, but over the years, the thousands of souls that stepped into their homey store were made to feel like family and friends. And even as their hair turned gray and time carved its passing in their laugh lines and wrinkles, Martha never forgot a face. Yet amid all the connections forged in their shop and the sleepy lakeside community, you are someone who has firsthand been invited into their family and world. Anytime you receive a call or card in the mail feels like a badge of honor. To be loved so deeply by people so deeply loved is a comforting thought. Few people remain on Lake Reverie during the winter months. The winters have become increasingly lighter in terms of snowfall, yet tonight's forecast calls for a record-breaking blizzard. The snow flurries have begun to fall on the frozen lake, leaving a dusting of white on the blue-gray ice, emphasizing lines carved by ice skaters throughout the week. You and your pet stare out the sliding glass doors onto the back deck of your chalet, watching as the wind rattles the barren branches of trees that line the lake. The winds are gathering strength, powerful enough to create a slight draft around the doorframe. On steely gray afternoons like this, it's difficult to tell the time of day before the concealed sun disappears entirely, leaving long winter nights in its wake. You sip on a warm drink contained in a mug so large it nearly requires 2 hands. The soothing tonic helps you unwind for what has been planned as a quiet night in. You've nearly forgotten it's Valentine's Day, tucked away in the quietude of your lakeside retreat. This is the place you go when you yearn to reconnect with yourself. Everything within the home, from the smallest decorative touches to the bigger details of the chalet, is a reflection of your spirit, existing to spark happiness and make you feel good. Tiny golden lights strung across exposed wood beams cast the open, lofty room in ambient light. As the snow comes down harder, the lights begin to flicker, and shadows dance with urgency on the log walls before the power completely goes out. You grab a matchbox from the kitchen to light a candle on the dining table, considering how the night will unfold and what preparations to make. Your pet looks at you longingly sending a wave of love through your being as you remember it's time to feed them. As you go about this daily task, you hear a truck engine idling on the quiet road outside the chalet that weaves around the lake. As your pet enjoys their meal, you hear a knock at the door and grab the candle to light your way. Peering through the peephole, you see Martha bundled in a crocheted, salmon-hued scarf, wrapped around her neck a few times, and yet it's still so long it trails down to her shins. You open the door and smile, and the snappy octogenarian doesn't miss a beat or even greet you with a hello. She always gets straight to the point when it matters. I thought you'd be home. Tommy down at the electric company said the power's out on this side of the lake until tomorrow morning at least. The generator's keeping things going at the general store, but Ike and I wanted to make sure that you're okay. You warmly smile at her concern, thinking you are just as concerned that they are out in this frigid weather. Her scarf flutters behind her petite frame with such gusto that you worry she might take off across the lake. You invite her in. She enters the foyer and mentions that her granddaughter insisted on using all the pink yarn to knit her scarf, failing to realize that it's enough scarf for 3 people. She mentions that Ike is waiting in the truck, but wonders if you might like to stay the night in their guest loft, since they still have power, at least for now. The thought touches you so. Her maternal and grandmotherly care is well received. For a moment, you lose your independent will, and all the thoughts defending your ability to fend for yourself fade away. Martha looks lovingly at your pet, insisting they come along as well. And so you gather a few of your necessary items, feeling almost like a kid about to enjoy a sleepover with a beloved elder. With a weekender bag packed and your pet safely prepared to go outdoors, you meet Martha in the entryway and suit up in your winter attire, and then blow out the candle. Thankfully, there are only a couple of steps between the front door and the path to Ike's truck. Salted by you with care earlier in the day, the ice crystals and snowflakes quickly dissolve. You inhale the smell of fresh snow and feathery conifers dusted in white as Ike greets you with a hug and then helps to stow your items in the back seat of his blue truck. The old man, born and raised in Vermont, shows his tolerance for the cold, wearing only a blue plaid flannel jacket and Dickies blue jeans, kept properly on his waist with a wide brown belt. You settle in the back seat of the truck with your pet as he helps Martha into the front, where she adjusts the heat vents to ensure the steady stream of warm air circulates to reach you. You notice a scarlet velvet Valentine's Day heart hanging from the rear-view mirror and smile. A thought crosses your mind that you may be interrupting a private celebration tonight. But when you share this with them, they simply laugh, expressing they sometimes miss the days when their kids and grandkids interrupted their date nights. Martha declares the greatest Valentine's days were often full of unexpected guests and gatherings, and they are delighted you are joining them for supper. The radio station comes in and out as Ike slowly navigates a road he knows as well as Martha after all these years. You peer out the frosted window, watching as the snow comes down heavier, and the windshield wipers swish back and forth, melting the snow once more. You feel so safe, so grateful to be included. Martha hums along to the timeless American standards that come through the speakers in a romantic playlist, and you watch as Ike shares a quick, loving gaze before he turns into their driveway. You look into your pet's eyes, who seems just as calm as you, despite the unusual circumstances. Holiday lights still dangle from the gable roof of the cabin, sparkling in the snow and indicating that Martha and Ike's home still has power. Martha stubbornly advocates for the holiday lights to remain until daylight saving time returns to ward off the winter woes. And Ike, knowing how much the twinkling lights make her smile, has dressed the frame of the front door and rails of the front porch with pink, red, and white heart-shaped lights for the month of February. Ike assists with your bag as you corral your pet and then follow the pair into their cabin. As you enter the front door, the rich, savory smells of a hearty winter meal fill the air. Ike has been slow cooking tonight's dinner, inspired by a French recipe. He's promised to sweep his wife away to France at some point before the busy season has them back at the general store full time. Martha chides that maybe this will be the year they retire. Their cabin has gone through so many transitions throughout the decades, and now has a unique blend of modern organization and simplicity with just the right amount of artistic touches. Each room is inspired by a flower native to Vermont, appearing in pops of color and hand-painted petals on ivory furniture and canvases. The floral theme of the main room is the wood lily, lending bright orange-red hues. Ike goes to the hearth to start a fire. Even though the cabin feels quite comfortable compared to the sharp, cold winds off the lake. As he fills the fireplace with crumpled newspaper and kindling, your pet curiously approaches him, sniffing the air. Skylights overhead become opaque as the snow accumulates and begins to stick. Martha gestures for you to follow her up a winding, knotty pine staircase to the loft bedroom suite. She spryly darts up the stairs, not a bit out of breath as she declares, "If you don't use it, you lose it." You admire her stamina and feistiness, recognizing that given all her bluntness and quest for truth, she's one of the most accepting and non-judgmental souls you've ever met. Ike is too. The bedroom feels like an instant home, taking you back to the first time in your life that you felt a sense of home in a place that was not your own. An oil painting by Martha hangs above the bed, capturing a patch of irises on a grassy knoll, showcasing the lake and mountainside in spring. The narrow, violet pointed petals feature vibrant yellow markings matching the yellow sun. The quilted bedspread is the same soothing shade as the irises. Ever nurturing, Martha takes a second fluffy blanket from a cedar chest and places it at the end of the bed with a toiletry bag of items she worries you may have forgotten in haste. She invites you to settle while she goes downstairs to set the table for dinner. You take in a deep breath as you sit on the end of the bed, so grateful you got over yourself and accepted the kind invitation. The faint sound of a Louis Armstrong record carries all the way to the loft, elevating the mood for the evening as snow pelts against the windows. You inhale and take in the smell of fresh linens that carry a hint of jasmine. You unpack your bag and head downstairs to find Martha and Ike dancing to A Kiss to Build a Dream On, as they are often known to do in the general store when the right song comes on. Your pet sits nearby, watching intently and suppressing every urge to get underfoot. Martha waves her hand, encouraging you to join in. You recall a time she once said it took 3 years of courtship before she stopped being embarrassed by Ike's impulse to spontaneously dance whenever the song and mood hit him. Thinking of this and how happy they look, any self-consciousness dissolves as you gather your pet and dance with them in the spacious dining room. Louis' rich, raspy vibrato sings, "Give me your lips for just a moment, and my imagination will make that moment live. Give me what you alone can give, a kiss to build a dream on." Candles burn brightly, and a crystal vase of roses in shades of pink, peach, lavender, red, and ivory sits in the heart of the table. Handmade Valentine cards hang on twine, strung above the glass doors that frame the frozen lake and distant mountains, now coated with inches of fresh snow as it continues to fall. Icicles the size of large carrots hang down from the edge of the roof, reflecting the nocturnal winter blues of the outside world and the amber light of flickering candle flames indoors as Louis's trumpet solo echoes through the room. Ike gracefully dips Martha and quickens his pace, spinning her like he has for over 60 years. You cannot stop smiling at the charm of it all. Cynicism melts like snowflakes on a blue salt-coated pathway, opening your heart to the enchantment of tender moments. The world is so full of chaos, looming storms, and fear-driven responses that feel-good moments like this are rare and sacred and deserve to be cherished. Martha and Ike are a living testament to a kiss that built a dream. As the song ends, Martha gives Ike a quick peck on the lips and then claps her hands together, declaring, "Let's eat." The table is set with gold-rimmed china and crystal glasses, with pink and red lace doilies scattered about. A heart-shaped cake with icing formed into red roses sits on display, filling the air with a scent of chocolate and vanilla beans. One course after the next fills you all as your pet begs at Ike's feet for a treat, and he declares, "This animal knows how to spot a softie." Flavors of the dishes are familiar, and yet also unique, revealing pops of acidity and savory notes. Each bite has the power to linger and last on your palate. You find yourself slowing down, savoring every detail, from the meal to the spontaneous laughter and warmth in the room. The candles burn down slowly, their flames reflecting on the glass doors, as a contentedness takes over the room, and you slice into the rose icing and luscious cake, baked with love like every pastry and confection to ever come from the general store. Martha and Ike never miss a celebration. They are never bored by rituals or routines. No matter how many Valentine's Days they have celebrated, they treat every day as a chance to celebrate life and relish the simple moments. They unearth parts of you that recognize how important it is to do so. Even as the hardships of life pile up over time, you may always choose to focus on the beauty of each moment. You help them clean up after dinner, feeling part of a family, and as comfortable in their kitchen as you would be in your own. Stolen glances reveal their sparkling connection. One look between them unpacks a near lifetime of inside jokes and being in sync, anticipating what the other needs, often before they even say it. But you know, as well as anyone that meets this dynamic duo, if something needs to be said, either one of them will be brave enough to say it. Their relationship has always relied on being authentic and giving one another the space and safety to be honest. You soon find yourself gathered around the fire in the living room. Martha places a Dinah Washington album on the turntable. Ike adds another log and stokes the fire. And you take in the photos above the mantel. One stands out in particular, showing a much younger Martha with her toddler balanced on her hip, outside the stoop of a brownstone in Manhattan. She's surrounded by a unique group of souls, a well-dressed older woman and man, a middle-aged man in a tweed jacket with elbow patches, a man in a blue uniform, and a smiling younger woman in a paisley dress who looks lovingly at Martha and her child. It's hard to imagine Martha in New York City, having always seen her as a staple in this rustic setting. But she reveals she would visit her cousin Madeline for a weekend or two each year in the city, where she thrived as a pastry chef. She explains that Madeline's daughter now runs a bakery in a small coastal village in Rhode Island. Baking clearly runs in the family. As the fire burns brightly and whiteout conditions surround the cabin, you continue to explore the framed photos throughout the room. Martha rocks in her chair, and Ike sits in his armchair with your pet at his feet. Stories unfold, refreshing their minds and bringing back the best moments of their time together. You come upon a photo of Martha and Ike in their 50s, seated in an Italian restaurant behind two plates piled high with fresh pasta and candles burning in old Chianti bottles. Their eyes are tearing with laughter. Ike explains they were celebrating their 30th anniversary, and the restaurant was so popular they waited months to get a reservation. Sentimental Ike thought he would wear the same pair of pants he wore on their first fancy dinner date. He squeezed into them, despite the few pounds Martha's baking helped add to his waistline over time. Before entering the restaurant, a mother struggled with her child's stroller as its wheel got stuck in a tiny pothole. Ike ran to the rescue, but his pants split straight down the back as he struggled to free it. Without any other option, Martha removed her new floral silk scarf and tied it around Ike's waist like a skirt beneath his sport coat. The maitre d' wasn't sure what to make of it. It wasn't exactly within the dress code, but Ike spent the entire evening acting as if it was a fashion choice he made for himself, as Martha insisted he best not get a drop of tomato sauce on that scarf. You wish there were time to hear all the memories of their anniversaries and holidays, and moments that shaped them into the amazing people that now sit before you. You'd love to hear every story captured in the evolution of photos on display, and the uncaptured moments as well. But sleepiness takes hold, and the thick logs have burned into fading embers. Ike leads you to a side door and a place beneath an awning where your pet may go outside and do their business safely. The wind bites at your nose and hands. Snowflakes land on your face and your pet's fur that you dust off upon returning inside. You say goodnight to Martha and Ike, looking forward to awakening to a snow day and a lazy morning of pancakes Ike promises to make. You ascend the stairs, your pet at your heels, and enter the elegant ensuite overlooking the lake. With a large soaking tub, you find Martha has left bath salts and soap for you, and a fresh, clean towel. You enjoy a bath as the soothing water spreads warmth deep into your muscles, and your pet sleeps on the bath mat. A cobalt blue and turquoise stained glass window fills the upper archway of the floor-to-ceiling windows. Icicles dangle outside. The wind howls through the lakeside valley, creating snowdrifts as tall as you. You inhale deeply and rise out of the water as you exhale, wrapping yourself in the towel and drying off. You change into your pajamas as your pet follows behind you. They lap water from a bowl Martha thoughtfully placed in the bedroom. You peel back the covers and settle within the marshmallow mattress, sinking your head into the pillows as your pet spins around and then snuggles next to you. Your furry companion feels at home so long as you are there. And as you drift into the land of dreams, you realize that wherever Martha and Ike may be feels like home as well. Finding peace, finding comfort, finding serenity, finding sleep.